Is Dillon Brooks the best shooter in the NBA? Will RJ Barrett make his first All-Star team this year? And are the Warriors done with Wiggins? Plus, we've got updates from other Canadian NBA players around the league. I'm Calvin Caracciolo. This is Courtside Canucks, your weekly Canadian basketball update. Has Dillon the Villain, rejected by his old team, the Memphis Grizzlies, at the end of last season, only to sign an $84 million deal with the Rockets, proved his worth to start the season? We need to start by talking about his shooting. Dillon is shooting the lights out to start the season. Just look at these facts. Dillon is the first player in NBA history to average 15-plus points on 60-60-90 splits in the first 5 games of the season. On November 5th, Dillon was leading the league in three-point percentage shooting. On November 6th, the only other players having a 50-40-90 season on over 15 points per game so far were Steph Curry, Paul George, and Naz Reid. But Dillon is also a showman in other ways. Here he is with the poster jam, and on a separate occasion, blowing a kiss to the Sacramento bench after draining a shot. Now, on to the intangibles. Dillon Brooks just has that dog in him, and the league has noticed. Just listen to what Gilbert Arenas had to say when asked, is Dillon Brooks good for the league?
When you look at Dillon Brooks, Dillon the Villain, this whole thing, is he good for the league?
Yeah, I mean, he's good for the league because as an offensive player, you're coming to bust his ass. He's bringing my A game because I know if I don't bring the A game and he shuts me down, I got to hear his mouth. For the most part, he's going to get his ass busted majority of the time, but that's because everyone's bringing a A game. So there's only a few players in the league that's bringing out everyone's A game, and he's one of them now.
And if you want to know what that looks like, check out the build-up and match against the Los Angeles Lakers recently. It started with a pregame interview where a reporter asked Brooks about his upcoming matchup against LeBron.
Ready to lock him up.
Then, here is Brooks, as NBA Twitter would say, stupidly locked in during warm-ups, possibly staring down LeBron from across half court, trying his best to strike fear into his heart. Here is Brooks again, just all up in LeBron's personal space, forcing a chuckle out of King James. And did it have an impact on LeBron's performance? Yes. When guarded by Brooks, LeBron had 6 points, shot just 2 for 6 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, and had 3 turnovers. Did the Grizzlies make a mistake effectively firing Dillon Brooks? NBA Twitter thinks so. Feel like Drew said, Dillon Brooks was really the glue that held this Grizzlies team together. I didn't think they would be this trash. And I think so too. As someone who played against Brooks in rep basketball growing up, this guy has been driven since day one. And his recent success isn't just a flash in the pan. And of course, the Memphis Grizzlies without him have started the season 1-7. Is Broadway Barrett doing enough to earn his first All-Star nomination this year? It's going to be an uphill battle because apparently RJ has haters. Just listen to Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce talking on October 27th about trading RJ.
You need another superstar over there.
Who would you add to the Knicks?
They can find a way to get Zion.
Damn, to New York? I don't think the Pelicans going to take Randall for Zion, straight up.
Barrett, a couple first rounders with Barrett, and Randall. Yeah, I think they would.
But enough of the haters. Let's talk about RJ's hot start to the season. RJ Barrett has improved in nearly every statistical category compared to last season. He's averaging 3 more points per game, shooting an improved 48% from the field, a much improved 44% from 3, and a much improved 85% from the free throw line, all while playing 3 minutes less per game. And the NBA community is noticing. Here are fans calling Barrett the Knicks' savior.
Then I see the look in your eyes. Turn around, bite eyes. Every now and then I fall apart. And I need you now tonight. And I need you more than ever. And if you only hold me tight.
And here they are saying, it's time to start the RJ Barrett All-Star campaign. After dropping 26 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists on 56-50-100 shooting, in a massive game against the Clippers. This brings me to my next point. Not only is RJ balling out, but he's also showing up in big, high-profile games. He was the dominant force in the Knicks' win against the Clippers, where Harden was making his first appearance. This game was as big as it gets, and Barrett spoiled the party for Clippers fans. He also scored 24 points in a big win against the Spurs, facing the new darling of the NBA, Victor Wembanyama. Winning big games like this matters when trying to become an all-star. And you know what also matters? Breaking records. And RJ also did that this week. At 23 years old, becoming the youngest Knick to reach 5,000 career points. Patrick Ewing was 25 when he hit 5,000 points and was the previous record holder. Can Maple Jordan recover from this rough start to the season? His fans are starting to turn on him and are relentlessly clowning him. Rebel the Great said, Andrew Wiggins needs another one of these ASAP. And just an explanation here, Wiggins has often been criticized for lacking the motor and drive needed to be successful. Essentially, Wiggins has all of the talent and athleticism to be one of the best in the league, which he proved in his fantastic performance for the Warriors in their 2022 championship run. Arguably the second best player on the squad. But then, he'll have streaks like his current start to the season, where fans think someone needs to get in his ear and remind him how amazing of a player he should be daily. Ramon Is Him posted a picture of Jordan Poole saying, "My basketball legacy is set with that ring," and then referring to Wiggins. Of course, it implies that Wiggins doesn't care about being a great player anymore now that he has a ring. Now, let's look at the stats. Wiggins has had some challenging moments. Hater Central noted that in 15 minutes against Detroit on November 6th, Wiggins had 0 points, missing 4 shots, 2 3-pointers, 2 free throws, and 2 turnovers. Go Iden State also pointed out that Wiggins is averaging 11.7 points per game, only 3 rebounds a game, less than 1 assist per game, and a true shooting percentage of 48.6%. What makes hating on Andrew Wiggins special is that it only comes from a place of love, because everyone knows he has it in him to be excellent. And of course, the nail in the coffin could be losing the trust of Coach Kerr. He has yet to play 30 minutes in any game to start the season, with even the washed Klay Thompson averaging 31 minutes per game, 6 more than Wiggins. As Canada basketball fan, I want to see him succeed. Heck, his dad, ex-NBAer Mitchell Wiggins, even gave me some basketball coaching pointers at a local park once. Here's hoping Andrew can turn it around. Let's dive into the performances of the week from the other Canucks, starting with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. On Monday night in a win against the Cavs, SGA put up 43 points, 1 point shy of his career high. He did it shooting 68% from the field with only 2 3-pointers, going 12 for 13 from the free throw line, and also adding in 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and a block with only 3 turnovers. In fact, Shai has scored 30-plus points for the 50th time since the beginning of last season, the most in the NBA during that span, with Luka Doncic just behind him at 48. With that performance, SGA is doing everything he can to elevate the Thunder to elite status, bringing them to a solid record of 5-3 to start the season. Shaedon Sharpe made a ridiculous game-saving block on a November 3rd game against the Memphis Grizzlies to force overtime and ultimately get the win. In that game, Showtime Shai had 22 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and of course, a block. Moments like this continue to show that Shaedon is making an argument to be the best player out of his 2022 draft class, with only Paolo Banchero and Bennedict Mathurin making an argument otherwise. And let's not forget that Sharpe is sneaky young. At only 20 years old, he is 4 months younger than Amen and Ozar Thompson, and 6 months younger than Brandon Miller, averaging 19 points per game to start the season, 10 points higher than the previous year. London, Ontario's finest, Shaedon Sharpe, is just getting started. Lu Dort shot 6 for 6 from 3 in a game against the Golden State Warriors on November 3rd. With SGA out of the lineup that night, the Dortcher chamber gave it everything he had, scoring 19 points, 9 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. Thunder lost the game on a very controversial call-no call involving Draymond Green and a basket interference. Dort has taken a massive step forward with his shooting to start the season. Last year, he averaged 39% from the field and 33% from three. This year, he's shooting an impressive 53% from the field and 53% from three. Not bad. Let's take a look at social media moments from these Canadian ballers over the last week. Starting with Brado NBA saying, "I need everyone on this app to run Dillon Brooks' apology." And this is the truth. If you listening, ever said to your friend, "I hate Dillon Brooks," or "Dillon Brooks sucks," or "he's being too disrespectful to the king," go on your phone right now and tweet an apology. The media and fans did nothing but clown Brooks since last year, and fresh off an impressive summer with Team Canada, Dillon the villain is proving the haters wrong in a big way. Next, we have this great exchange between Chet and Shai, with Chet sneaking into the reporter section post-game to ask Shai a very important and thoughtful question.
First question in the corner over here. Mr. Number 2, how does it feel to know nobody can guard you? Next question. Good night, Chet.
The vibes coming out of OKC right now are immaculate, and this team is a must-watch every night. And here we have Bennedict wearing his custom Adidas shoes for the first time on November 4th. Mathurin designed them to feature his Canadian and Haitian roots and pay homage to his late brother Dominique. The story of his brother's passing is a real tragedy, which I won't get into here, but if you get a chance to read about the challenges of where Mathurin grew up in Montreal, Quebec, his trip down to Mexico to play on an NBA Academy team, and the support he's had from his family along the way, it's a really meaningful story. Here are some quick hits in case you missed it. According to the team, Denver Nuggets star Jamal Murray is reportedly out for the rest of November after injuring his hamstring on a November 4th game against the Bulls. Unfortunately, this likely stops his hopes of making his first All-Star team dead in his tracks. On November 6th, the Clippers converted Josh Primo's two-way contract to a standard NBA deal. Primo, 20, hasn't played in the NBA since the Spurs waived him on October 28, 2022, after detrimental conduct issues. On November 5th, Tristan Thompson recorded his 450th block with the Cavaliers, putting him in a tie for fifth most blocks in the team's history with Jim Jones, who played for the team in the 70s and the early 80s. Going to our power rankings, compared to last week, the list has been refined from ranking every Canadian player in the NBA to putting together a top 10 list of the most notable players. But I still kept the rest of the guys on the list because I think it's important to highlight every single Canadian in the league. SGA has maintained his top spot over the last week. Our biggest mover was Dillon Brooks, going up 4 spots to the number 2 spot after continued impressive performance. Several players have made moves up the list, including Barrett, Dort, Sharpe, Mathurin, Olynyk, and Boucher. The injured Jamal Murray has moved down 2 spots, and the slow-starting Wiggins has dropped down 5. Oof. That's it for this week's episode of Courtside Canucks. I'm your host, Calvin Caracciolo. Make sure to subscribe and click the bell to get notifications for next week's episode. And remember, Canada is better than the US at basketball. If you don't believe me, watch the tape from the summer. See you next time.